what to know before moving to Boise, Idaho. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a really good kind of high level view of Boise and the Treasure Valley, and I'll explain what that is, so that you can determine if it's gonna be a good place for you to relocate to this year. Hey friends, welcome back to the Living in Idaho channel. My name is Craig Flood. I'm a real estate agent here in Idaho. And if you're considering a move to Idaho, then be sure to subscribe to this channel. I post a new video each week that is all about what it's like to live here in Idaho so that I can help you in your journey in deciding if you want to make that move. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Boise, Idaho and all the surrounding cities, which essentially make up the Treasure Valley. We'll talk about the outdoors and how that can be a huge impact to the quality of life that you're going to have here. We'll talk about the social and community life that you might experience if you move here. I'm also going to touch on the local economy and job opportunities. And I'm going to give you guys an update on the housing markets, not just in Boise, but in all of the Treasure Valley. And while I'm talking about these things, I want to give you guys something pretty to look at. Last year, my son turned 10 years old and I took him on an overnight rafting trip down the Payette River, which is just north of Boise. My son loved it. It was a classic kind of, you turn 10, let's go do an overnight rafting trip where you kind of have to overcome fears, hit some rapids that you're probably a little scared of, catch some little fish, find some frogs, catch some crawdads, and have an overall good time. But I know a lot of you considering a move here to Boise are moving to get access to the outdoors, and maybe you have a family as well and you want to be able to go do things with them. So this will be an example of what that could look like for you. Finally, be sure to watch this whole video, especially the housing market update at the end, so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not Boise is going to be the right fit. All right, number one, I'm going to call this big picture. I want to go really high level here for you guys. One of my calls this week was with a couple moving up from California, and they are looking at Boise, Idaho as a possible place to live. And as we were talking, I was kind of picking up that they needed a better kind of high level overview of Boise and the Treasure Valley to help them determine if it's worth it to come up here and make a drive and make a trip to see if we can find something that fits for them. And ultimately, I know that's what you guys are doing. If you're watching this video, maybe you're determining if Idaho's right for you, or Utah, or Montana, or Arizona, or Florida. So let's go high level right here and just talk about what is Boise, Idaho, and the Treasure Valley, and what is it not? So for starters, I just want to say Boise, Idaho is high desert. So our elevation here is 2,700 feet. We get hot, dry summers, and we get mild winters, which I love, and maybe you will too. Something else unique about Boise, they call it the city of trees. So if you fly in, you're gonna see Boise in the Treasure Valley, and it's just like a sea of trees, and then everything outside that, typically kind of south of that, kind of high desert, and then north of that, you're gonna see kind of mountains and just classic, beautiful Idaho. Yes, Boise is high desert, but it's beautiful high desert. We have the Boise River that cuts through town. They have diverted water off that river everywhere through the valley, and it is just flooded with trees. So it's kind of this little oasis in the desert. And let me just mention, if you're considering a move here to Boise, Idaho Falls, Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, Idaho, any of the major cities in Idaho, me and my partners can help serve you and get you moved here simply and smoothly. You can call, text, or email days, nights, or weekends, and we would love to assist you in your journey. Another high-level thing I want to touch on is water. So a lot of people, they call in, they say, hey, we want to get a home, we want some land, we want to be on or near water. Now, I grew up in Seattle, Washington. My folks have some property on Lake Tapps, and so I totally get that life of wanting to live on water, have a boat really accessible, go jump on a sea-doo, and just be close and near the water. It's very fun to be able to do that in the summertime. Boise may not be your best option if that is the lifestyle that you desire. You may need to go look elsewhere. When we think about water here in Boise, we're thinking the Boise River, which cuts all the way from Lucky Peak all the way through town out into Oregon. Now, when I mention the Boise River is really family friendly. And in terms of getting water access to it, you can get homes on the Boise River. They're kind of few and far between. Typically, you're not going to find new construction, though you could. It's just going to be a bit harder. We then have Lucky Peak Reservoir, right? So that's just east of the city, huge reservoir, but it's not like there's homes on it. It's more just for recreation. It's where we store a bunch of water, and it continually feeds the Boise River. We have Lake Lowell, which is going to be southwest out towards Nampa. Now, right around that area too, then we have the Snake River kind of cutting up. Now, when we're talking about the Snake River, this is a large river, not like the Boise River. The Boise River is really kind of small, a little faster moving in some areas, very family friendly, not really designed for boating. Whereas the Snake River is great for boating with flat bottom boats, river boats. It's great to go fishing on or duck hunting on. In addition, on the Snake River, you can find property on the Snake River. You could be right on the river. And now if we move a little north of that, we're going to get Black Canyon Reservoir, which is going to be out by Emmett. And the river that you have going into Black Canyon and heading out Black Canyon is going to be the Payette River, the same river that me and my son are rafting in this video. And another body of water we got to mention is retention ponds. So Boise, Idaho and the Treasure Valley has a high water table. And you could live in some communities that have some retention ponds. Legacy in Eagle, Idaho is a good example of this. You're going to have ponds kind of scattered throughout the community, and these are going to be great to go swimming in, paddleboarding, kayaking, not really motorboating. They're not big enough for that, but great to play around in and cool off in the summertime. Now, one last thing I want to say about water. If you are somebody who really loves Boise and the Treasure Valley, but also wants to have that kind of lake lifestyle where maybe you're on the lake, boating and enjoying the summertime, the way that people do that down here in Boise, Idaho is that they head north. They either head up to Lake Cascade, which is about 2 hours away from Boise, or they head up to McCall, which has Payette Lake, which is about 2.5 hours from Boise. And these are kind of your classic vacation mountain towns. Lovely, lovely areas to visit and hang out in the summer. Also in the summertime, it tends to be a lot cooler up there than it is down in Boise. And a lot of people will go spend their summers up there, or they could just live up there. If you're somebody that wants to live in a mountain town, be sure to reach out and we can take care of you on that journey. One final note on this is that in Boise, you can be far away without being far away. Let me explain. Once you leave Boise proper, or just let's say downtown, within minutes, you can really kind of be out in the outskirts, right? You can be in rural areas, agricultural land, but at the same time, it doesn't take you that long to get back to a city. So if that's something that's important to you, you want to live in a place that you feel far away, but you still want to be close to amenities, close to an airport, close to hospitals, and close to a Costco, you can do that here in Boise and the Treasure Valley. All right, next, let's talk about outdoor activities here in Boise, Idaho. This is something you're going to want to know if you're considering moving here, and it's probably already a reason that maybe you are considering it. This is a major draw for people who want to live in a great city and be close to the outdoors. So whether you're into hiking or biking or river sports like kayaking, river surfing, fishing, or mountain sports like snowboarding or skiing, cross-country skiing, or tubing, you can do that here in Boise, Idaho. Not only just do it, you're super close to it. And again, just imagine this is a huge quality of life thing, right? If you're easily able to get out to activities, that's going to do wonders for your health, your activity levels. I think you get the picture. Oh no. Definitely hit. There goes my spray. That spot out. Oh man, do you hear that thunder and lightning? Whew. It's gonna be a good night in the tent. And this, in my opinion, is something that's really unique about Boise. There are a lot of places that you could live that could offer these things, but then the question is, well, how far do you have to go to get to those things? Boise is a city that was built right up against the foothills. So if mountain biking is your thing, depending on where you live, you could ride from your house to mountain biking, or you could have a quick few minute drive. For me, where I live, I'm on the Boise Bench. I am 5 to 7 minutes from fishing in the river. I'm 7 to 10 minutes from hiking or biking in the foothills. I'm 40 minutes from skiing. So again, something that's lovely about Boise is that it offers you these things and it offers them to you right at your back door. Now let's talk about community and social life. In terms of community, you're gonna find people who like their freedom, who like the outdoors, who like to go hunting and frequent gun shops. In terms of social life, you're gonna live in a larger community of the Treasure Valley, but then depending on where you live, you're gonna be in a smaller community. And those smaller communities are great about doing things that are just local to that community. So if you go to Star, Idaho, you're gonna have some great community events, like a 4th of July parade. And then you're gonna have bigger events in the larger city of Boise that everybody can kind of come together for. Think hot air balloon festival, think bike racing if that's what you're into. Think a New Year's Eve party where they drop the potato.
A huge potato is lowered to celebrate New Year's in this state capital.
That's Boise?
Yep.
Classic move, Idaho. In addition to that, we have good restaurants, we have good coffee shops. Boise, Idaho is on the map. So if there is some event that's traveling around the US, there's a chance that they might swing through Boise on their next stop. And then taking it down even smaller, if you move here and you think, gosh, how am I going to make friends? What am I going to do? You could, depending, move into a community that has its own events too. Maybe they throw block parties. And so there are ways for you to come here and get plugged in, whether you get plugged into a church or a knitting group or a biking group, or if you're a business owner, get plugged into a B&I group. There are lots of options for you when you come here. Let's talk about the local economy and job opportunities now. Boise and the Treasure Valley is the largest metropolitan area in Idaho. Another couple I was talking to this week is considering a move from Seattle, Washington to either Coeur d'Alene or Boise, Idaho. And one of the things that we were talking about was job opportunities and what they're going to do if they make that move. For her, she really wants to find something here. She doesn't want to work remote, so she wants to land somewhere, make friends, get plugged into the community, and start putting down roots. And one of the things we were talking about were her different opportunities. If she moves to Boise, again, that's one of the largest metropolitan areas, but then they were also considering Coeur d'Alene. And I said, hey, if you go to Coeur d'Alene, just know your major city then is going to be Spokane on the Washington side. Spokane and Boise are roughly 230,000 people. Population is almost identical. But that is going to be something that you're going to want to consider as you're considering a move. Make phone calls, contact people. But job opportunities are really nuanced, but just know there's tons of opportunities here in Idaho, in the Boise, Idaho area. All right, let's talk about the housing market. So what I want to do is show you guys a big overview of the Treasure Valley. So here we have the Boise area, we have Meridian, we have Eagle, Star, Middleton, Caldwell, Nampa, Kuna, and then also up here we have Emmett. This is, just for reference again, this is going to be the foothills. Things tend to get a bit flatter down here, and that's more agricultural land. Now, in terms of median home prices, let's talk about that. In Boise, Idaho here, you're looking around $480,000. In Emmett, Idaho, up here, you're looking around $430,000. In Kuna, Idaho, down here, you're looking around $440,000. In Middleton, Idaho, you're looking right around $480,000. In Caldwell, Idaho, over here, you're looking around $365,000. Just below that in Nampa, you're looking around $418,000. In Star, Idaho, up here, you're looking around $514,000. And in Eagle, Idaho, right next door, you're looking around $890,000. And then just below that in Meridian, you're looking at around $480,000. Well, there it is. That is a high-level overview of Boise, Idaho, and things I think you should know. Leave a comment down below with any questions that you have. I'll be sure to get back to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.